to discuss student similarities. There are fewer of these than student differences, but if found, you can use them to help your classroom. Now, the most important similarity between students is they will generally all be the same age. And because they are all around the same age group, they will have similar developmental areas. There are four developmental categories: cognitive, social and emotional, physical, and linguistic. Cognitive developmental The cognitive developmental area includes how developed their thinking ability and brain is. The social emotional area is how developed and tendencies that they may have socially towards other people and emotionally. Physical is, of course, how physically developed their body is, including physical tendencies that they may have at this age. Linguistic is how developed they are linguistically and tendencies they may have linguistically at this age. An example for this is cognitively. A 2-year-old will not be able to comprehend complex things. A 2-year-old's brain is just barely forming, and they are focusing on discovery. So they are wandering around, putting things in their mouth, and learning through that way. An example of a stage of social and emotional development is in middle school. Students are trying to figure out who they are and what they like. So socially and emotionally, they are a little insecure. They may switch around, they may latch on to one area that they can find themselves in, and emotionally, they may act differently because of their insecurities in who they are. Physically, an example of this is kindergartners. Kindergartners physically do not have as well fine motor skills as other children. Because of this, you will need to have assistive writing tools such as pencil grips and etc. to help them be able to complete basic physical functions. Linguistically, another example of this is middle schoolers. Middle schoolers linguistically love sarcasm, these are all generalities, of course, because no two students are going to be exactly the same, and there will always be exceptions. But middle schoolers tend to linguistically love to use sarcasm. Now, these are all examples of developmental stages of student growth. Now, the students you teach will normally have the same developmental stages in all these things. Knowing their developmental stages in these areas will help you be able to better teach and understand your students. If you know that at a certain age, students need to move around and be physical every once in a while, or that they have a hard time paying attention for long periods, you need to incorporate this into your teaching and make sure that you do not lecture for long periods or that you include physical activities in your lessons. Class material is another similarity. Students are all going to be trying to learn the same thing. They will all have the same goal for the most part, which is to learn the content. This is probably a more obvious one, whereas you're going to teach the same content to everyone. This does not mean that you will teach the same way all the time, but you are going to be trying to teach the same thing to everyone. All students will, for the most part, be in the same region if they're going to your school. You're not going to have someone flying from across the country to attend your class in Illinois. Students will be in the same region. You can use this or town. You can use this to connect to students and to create a sense of unity in the classroom. Students are all going to have the same needs. Now, Maslow he was a psychologist who developed a hierarchy of needs as displayed in the PowerPoint slide. There are sociological needs. These are more physical and they are more forefront. They're more demanding than the other needs. The needs lower on the pyramid are the needs that need to be met before the higher needs can be reached. Sociological needs include breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. If a student has not met these needs, they will not be able to focus on their learning. As a teacher, you need to understand this. Safety and security needs include health, employment, property, family, and social stability. These are all things that once again need to be met before the next stage of the pyramid can be addressed. Self-esteem follows. This includes confidence, achievement, respect of others, the need to be a unique individual. As you progress up towards the pyramid, the needs get more and more sophisticated. This is because in order to reach the next level, you have to have the basic needs met. And the final need is self-actualization. This includes creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, experience, purpose, and meaning and inner potential. That is the goal for all students. And as a teacher, you need to understand these needs. So if a student is struggling in class and their sociological needs are met, physiological, I've been saying that wrong. Physiological needs are met, then and they're still not doing well in class and their safety and security needs are met, then they may be struggling with love and belonging. This means you as a teacher need to take this upon you to make the student feel loved and belonged. Another important thing about student similarities is that in order to understand these similarities and differences is that you need to understand the student. That is the most important thing. Understand your students and you will be able to notice similarities and differences. There are also some similarities that not every student will have in common. These include some students may play sports, some students may be involved in music, some students may love to draw. There are similarities that you can find between students based on their interests. Once again, get to know the students to understand these similarities. And another thing with similarities is you can create similarities. Having your class in itself is a similarity between these students. Create similarities between students by forming groups and having other students get to know each other so that they can find similarities themselves.